Okay, so let us start with some important GD topics in the month of June 2020. What are the important topics? So in this video, short video, I'm going to discuss with you some 5 topics. GD में topics are of 2 types. Number one, those which are permanently you can use, they are static topic. Static topics are those which are not related to current issues. And then there are GD topics which are related to current issues for which knowledge of the current affair is important. So static issues anytime you can prepare, like static issues can be like can women be good managers, or can women be good drivers, something like that. Or static issues can be like manager versus administrator, something like that. I mean, for that current knowledge is not required. Then there are some issues like which are current issues like Indo-China skirmish, Indo-China standoff, Indo-China issues for which current knowledge is required, and hence current affair ka knowledge may become important. In group discussion, how to start group discussion, how to enter into group discussion, all these things basically this can be we have already uploaded some videos. There are 3 videos on YouTube: how to start GD, how to enter into GD, how to conclude GD. There are some tricks for that. Many students keep on asking, sir, GD has to be in English or Hindi. My point is, you practice for English, because majority of the GD, if you want to cover up, like in all the exams, if you want to cover up, you should have some knowledge of the English as a communication language. You should have that. So start speaking that particular thing, and if you speak that topics in English, that is always good. Then how to basically prepare for GD. GD topic may you need to current affair, may not every current affair issue can become GD. GD is where you can give some points in favor, some points in against, or something like that you can give. Then many students are confused between GD and GT, group task and group discussion. I will discuss that separately. What is the difference in group discussion and group task? I will discuss that separately. As of now, 5 topics, what we can speak on those points that I'm going to discuss with you. I want to bring to your notice one more thing. Like, if you want to score high in GD, while you are while you are speaking, when you are doing discussion, that time you should give data. If you should give some kind of convincing basically statistics you can provide. You can quote some kind of information which so data, information, statistics, if these things are to your support, I mean you are quoting these things while discussion, this always give you an edge over others in group discussion. So knowledge obviously helps you in discussion. How you speak, that is one thing. What you speak, that is another thing. How you speak, that already 3 top videos I've already uploaded. Just watch them. Even if you don't know the GD topic, how you can do something there. But if you have knowledge of the subject, then it is even better. Then nobody can defeat you in group discussion. Fine. So let us start and acquire some knowledge now. How to speak in GD, that I'm not covering here, but what to speak if this topic comes, that is what I'm going to discuss here. So these are the for month of June, these are some relevant topic, and this is June 2020 I'm going to discuss with you. So these are some relevant topics there. India as a permanent member of United Nations Security Council. India should Chinese trade, we should put ban on Chinese trade or not? Should we go for trade with China? Home delivery, especially in the lockdown, home delivery by some kind of delivery companies, something like these companies like Zomato, Swiggy, all these companies. So liquor delivery to the people at home is good or bad? China and its I mean India and its neighborhood border issues, China's string of pearls, what is debt trap policies, what we should know. And government has started privatizing the natural resources, auctioning of the coal blocks. It's good or bad? So let us start with permanent membership of United Nations Security Council. And what is the situation for that? Should India be permanent member of Security Council? Let me tell you one thing, why this issue is relevant as of now, because recently India has become the non-permanent member of United Nations. I will discuss with you. There are 15 members of United Nations Security Council. United Nations is a body which is based in New York. There is a head office of United Nations, New York, and it has some specialized agencies. And United Nations ka decision making body, there's a General Assembly, and then there's a United Nations Security Council. It is something like Parliament. General Assembly is something like Parliament. India is a member of United Nations, so General Assembly mein India always sit, and India also speaks. Our Prime Minister goes there to United Nations, and he addresses the General Assembly of the United Nations. General Assembly is like all the countries combined together. United Nations Security Council is like a cabinet. 15 members only, out of which 5 members are very, very special. They're called permanent member. They have veto power. Veto means if any of the one member of 5 members say no, it will be no. That is called veto power, and it was given when United Nations was created, and United Nations was created after World War II. World War II ended in 1945, and at that time those countries which were victor countries, the countries which came out after Second World War as a winning countries of the war, like USA, UK, France, Russia, and then China also. So these are 5 permanent members. They have veto, and then 10 members which are non-permanent. They keep on changing. Like India has become non-permanent member of United Nations for 8th time this year. So from 1st January, I think 2021, 1st January, say India will become non-permanent member of United Nations 8th time. But for the last many years, we are demanding that we should become the permanent member of United Nations. So what are the points in favor of India becoming permanent members, and some data about United Nations is required. So these are the 5 countries, and why I am loading you with this information now, because you should have the knowledge of this. Because when you are debating, let us say some fellow says permanent members, so there are 5 members. Well, even if you are quoting that, see, there are 5 members, permanent member of United Nations: USA, UK, Russia, China, France. And India is a larger economy than France. So now the situation is different. Maybe France at that time was winning country, but now situation is different. So data आपको quote करने में it will be easier for you. So these are the 5 countries which represent the permanent membership, which are the permanent member of United Nations as of now. And India has become recently as 8th time as non-permanent member of United Nations. And permanent member names also I gave you, and I don't think you need to know the years when India was non-permanent member earlier. So United Nations Security Council, as I told you, United Nations Security Council has 15 members. 5 are permanent members. You can see the basically flags of these countries: US, England, Russia, these 5 countries, France and China. So other than this, these 10 members, non-permanent members, they are selected for 2 years on the basis of this. Africa say 3, Asia say 2. So regional participation is there. 5 members are this, and 10 members are regional participation given to this. So this is how it is divided, right? And the main purpose of United Nations Security Council is to maintain peace and harmony in the world. That is the main purpose. Why United Nations was created? Sir, to maintain peace in the world, so that next World War III should be prevented. Third World War should be prevented. That is the main philosophy of creation of United Nations. So when we are going to say, should India become permanent member of United Nations? The strongest reason we can give is, let's go back and see why United Nations was created. It was created to prevent the Third World War. And now if Third World War takes place, India is a country going to play a very crucial role. You know that terrorism, global warming, environmental issues, these are the main issues this globe is suffering from. And India as a country at the center stage, fighting against these causes. Terrorism mein, which country is at the forefront of fighting against terrorism? India. Today, if China is wielding its muscles and China is creating some kind of trouble, which country is at the forefront? India. So India cannot be avoided. If Third World War you want to avoid, India should be on board. How can you forget India? So if you're avoiding, if you're not putting India on board, then the relevance of United Nations Security Council is decreased. Listen again what I said. The purpose why United Nations was created was to prevent Third World War. And if Third World War will be there, then the parameters which will decide Third World War, India is a country which is going to be at the center stage. as far as those parameters are concerned. Today there are nuclear states. These permanent members are also N5, nuclear 5 states, 5 countries which have nuclear arsenal. And you know, India is also having nuclear warhead. India is also having that, and India is accepted by nuclear supplier group as a responsible nuclear state with advanced nuclear technology. So India has advanced nuclear technology, India has advanced space program, India has advanced defense program. How can you not include India into the permanent membership of Security Council? So if you want to serve the purpose by which United Nations was created, India should be on board. India should be permanent member of United Nations. That is the point. So remember this, Security Council primary responsibility within United Nations is to maintain international peace and security, and without India on board it cannot be done. You need to understand that. So United Nations ka little bit knowledge. Yes, United Nations is made up of General Assembly, Security Council, General Assembly, Parliament, Security Council, as I said, 15 members, then Economic and Social Council, International Court of Justice, Secretariat is there. You need to know that. So it was established in 1945, and now the situation has totally changed. Geopolitical realities have drastically changed. Now United Nations Security Council also needs to be changed. 1945 India was different from 2020. Now 2020 mein India is one of the largest economy of the world. You cannot avoid India now. So United Nations, if you are not changing the council, and if you are maintaining the same level which was at 1945, then it will not be fair. Okay, so this we have already discussed now, and these are the 5 countries. Okay, vote recently when United Nations may India became non-permanent member, so majority countries were in favor that India should become non-permanent member of United Nations. You know, there are G4 nations. G4 nations are Brazil, Germany, Japan. These are the 4, and India. These are the 4 basically countries which are vying for becoming permanent member of United Nations also. So India, out of 5 members, you know, unless until 5 members, permanent members of United Nations, do not accept India as a permanent member, India cannot become permanent member. So out of these 5 countries, except China, all other 4 countries say that India should become permanent member. Like Russia, may recently our defense minister Rajnath Singh visited Russia, and Russian minister also said that yes, India should become permanent member of United Nations. America also says India should become permanent member. UK also says that. France also says that. China, because of its own reason, will never say that. So it is some kind of uncomfortable situation here, because all India is going to play a very crucial role, and unless until you make India as a permanent member of United Nations, then the significance of United Nations is not there. So that is what we need to understand very well. So why India should become permanent member of United Nations? These are the points. India is the 2nd largest populated country in the world, and maybe very soon will become the most populated country. Largest democracy of the world. Democracy is the model which everybody appreciates. China is not the democratic country. India is a democratic country. So India can play a crucial role. 5th largest economy, 3rd largest in terms of purchasing power parity, most advanced nuclear program India has. It has accepted as a responsible nuclear state. India has already been accepted as responsible nuclear state by world over, including nuclear supplier group. Advanced research program, advanced defense program, maximum number of professionals in the world fighting for the common causes like terrorism, environment, etc. So India is already playing a very, very crucial role in the world, and if we want to fulfill the purpose of creation of United Nations, India should become permanent member of United Nations. So in GD topic, if this topic comes in GD, you have to take the side that yes, India should become permanent member of United Nations. So I hope this particular topic is clear to us, that India should become permanent member. So what are the reasons why India should become permanent member of United Nations? Okay, now let's go to next part, next topic. Let's see what is the next topic now. China's trade, should we ban or shouldn't we ban? So let us discuss about this. What is the topic, like China trade? What is the related to this? Now you know why this ban on Chinese trade, this demand was done. You know, whenever there is a basically some kind of issues we face with China. Like recently in eastern part of Ladakh, Galwan Valley, mein some 20 Indian soldiers died fighting with Chinese, protecting their land in on line of actual control. So always there is a demand that okay, let's teach China a lesson. Let's stop doing trade with China, and let's ban any kind of trade or any kind of diplomatic relation with China. We should be very cautious. If you want to teach China lesson, is banning trade the solution for that? We should basically think about that. Yes, in the GD, what you have to say is, I am of the opinion that we should teach China lesson. I am of the opinion that we should protect our territories. I am of the opinion that we should show our a strong face to countries like China, and we should not yield our territories. And we are not the country which was there in 1962 when China attacked India. But I'm not of the opinion that banning the trade is going to solve that particular problem. So you have to take this side. So I'm going to now prove why banning trade will not be solution for that. And you know, whenever this situation comes, always we think that okay, let's ban the trade. But is banning the trade solution for that? I want to discuss that. But before that, let me tell you, when there was some kind of fight between Indian and Chinese soldiers, and Indian soldiers died, one of our ministers said, okay, let's ban all Chinese restaurants in India. Do you think that is going to solve the problem? Let me give you an example. Chinese restaurant in Delhi, let us say, who is the owner of that? Indian. Who are the people having food there? Indian. Who are the people cooking food there? Indian. Who are the people earning through that? Indian. Is China even involved other than Chinese restaurant? Is China even involved there? No. So you will ban the Chinese restaurant only because China word is mentioned there. So that emotionally we should not become foolish and start doing this kind of things, because we need to create business. We need to, especially in the COVID shutdown situation, we should not do that. So similarly, is banning the trade going to solve the problem or not? We should be very careful. I'm going to tell you some reasons why banning the trade is not going to solve the problem. Trade deficit, not necessarily bad. That is the first point. You know what is trade deficit? Trade deficit, trade surplus. Let me explain you. Suppose China is selling product to India, and China is selling product of 10 crore rupees to India, and India is selling product of 1 crore to China. So who is selling more? China. Who is selling less? India. India is exporting product of 1 crore. China is exporting product of 10 crore to India. It is called a trade deficit for India. Because when we are doing trade, China is doing more trade than India. But suppose for China, it is a trade surplus. For India, it is trade deficit. Now, people misunderstand trade deficit to be loss. When we are selling 1 crore rupee to China, and when China is selling 10 crore rupee product to India, do you think India is losing? Answer is no. India is not losing. The customer in India, consumer in India is also getting benefited, and the producer in China is also getting benefited. Number two, China is not selling only finished product. Sometimes we purchase raw material from China, something like plastic, and then we make some finished product, make some final product from that raw material and sell back to China or to other countries. So maybe I'm a businessman who purchase plastic from China or cloth from China, make the finished item, finished good, final thing, and sell back to Europe or America or world over. So if that trade is banned, don't you think my business will also shut down? सो इफ चाइना से हम लोग कुछ खरीद रहे हैं तो उसमें हमारा लॉस नहीं है, हमारा भी बेनिफिट है, चाइना का बेनिफिट है. Trade is always beneficial for both the countries, for India as well as China. It is beneficial. So trade deficit is not a loss to a country. So trade deficit should not be taken as a negative thing. If there is a trade deficit, does not mean that domestic economy is going to have negative aspect of that. Now think that if we are trade deficit with China, then we will be losing. If we think we are losing, then why even we are doing trade? So we are doing trade because it is beneficial for all. You know, if we see at top 25 countries with which India has trade, top 25 countries, then some countries with which we have trade surplus are US, UK, Netherlands. Trade surplus, that means we sell more to US and US sell less to us. Does not mean US becomes a lesser big economy and we become bigger economy, or US is getting loss and we are getting benefit. No. Similarly, there are 22 countries with which we have trade deficit. Out of those countries, China is also there, Germany, South Africa is also there. Does not mean South Africa is a bigger economy and we are a smaller economy. No. So whether we have trade deficit or we have trade surplus, it is beneficial to both the countries. It is a win-win situation. Trade with any country is a win-win situation. Customers are going to get benefited in India and producers are going to get benefited in China. So that is win-win situation for both. If we ban trade with China, China is also going to ban trade with us, and it is mutually loss for both the parties. Okay, banning trade with China will hurt the Indian poor most. Let me give you example for that. Suppose I want to purchase something from China, let's say air conditioner, and Chinese air conditioner is coming 25,000 rupees. Now I ban trade with China. Then I don't have option to purchase from China. Then my next company can be Taiwanese, or it can be Korean, or it can be Japanese. Now suppose I purchase AC from Japan, not in 20,000 but 30,000. Then who is going to pay more? So we are going to pay more. That is our loss. So same AC which I was getting from China cheap, it is going to serve my purpose. Made in China items we purchase because they are, I think, meeting our requirements. They are cheap also, and the life or quality is as per our requirement. We want that much of quality only. So it is helping us also. If we ban trade with China, then the items which we take from China, they will not coming and we will be purchasing it at higher cost, and Indian poor is going to suffer because of that. It is not good. Okay, we will be punishing Indian producer and exporters also. And as I told you, there are so many businesses in India which are based upon Chinese raw material. If we ban trade with China, raw material will not come and we will not be in position to export finished product, and that will be punishing our people, that will be punishing our exporters. That is not good. Okay, our main intention to ban trade with China is to basically teach China a lesson. But shall we teach China a lesson? Are we going to teach China a lesson? Is China going to hurt, get some kind of loss? No, let's have a data. If we ban trade with China, China is going to lose 3% of exports and 1% of its import. Whereas India is going to lose 5% of its export and 14% of its import. So if you want to ban trade with China, at least you should know, is it going to create some kind of loss to China? Answer is no. China is not going to get affected at all. India says China, okay, we are going to ban the trade with you. China is saying, very good, do it. Because I'm going to lose 1%, you are going to lose 5%. I'm going to lose 1%, you are going to lose 14%. So India is going to lose 10 times more roughly than China. So what is the benefit of that? There is no benefit of that. India will lose policy credibility. Yes. Whenever because there is a body called World Trade Organization, and the purpose of what WTO is to make trade free and fair among different countries of the world. If you start banning the trade, if you start mixing the economic or trade things with the, let's say, border issues. If there is a border issue between India and China and you start getting affected, your trade starts getting affected by the border issues, then investors will not feel comfortable in investing in your country. Why they will invest in your country? So investor companies will think that anytime this country is not stable, anytime some issue comes, they are going to ban the trade. And why the foreign investor is going to invest in your country, and you want to have foreign direct investment, which is not going to come. Hence, banning trade with China may not be solution. Then what can be the solution? I'm going to discuss that later on. But still, if you want to resolve border issues, you should think from that perspective. Do not mix border issue with trade issue. Border issue, if you want to resolve, consolidate your defense forces. Consolidate your defense forces, like mountain corps, which defense army was planning to create mountain corps, like dedicated corps only for guarding the mountains. So for immediate mobility along line of actual control, you have to do that. Don't mix these two issues. Fine. Let's go for third issues. Home delivery for liquor is bad or good? Like nowadays, what happened, like in the shutdown, everything was closed. Why government wants to sell liquor? That is the first question. Because selling liquor gives a lot of resource to the government. It is the source, main source of income of the state governments, excise duty. So liquor selling is the main source of governments, and during the shutdown when businesses are not going on, this has become the main source of income for the state governments. So state governments want to do that. Now, does that mean state governments even want to sell liquor at home and people will start drinking more? May not be there. First knee jerk reaction is, okay, liquor will be delivered like pizza at home. It is not good. Where is our culture? We are doomed. I mean, everybody will be drunk. Even ladies at the home will drink. Kids will also start drinking. No, it is not like that. See, if you want to drink, you can take it from liquor shop also. You can go out. In fact, if you ask me, going to the liquor shop and purchasing from there, instead of that, if it is delivered at your home, because everybody in the home will be watching it is being delivered, so it will be more authentic delivery than going to liquor shop and purchasing it. Let me give example again. I want to drink. I don't want to tell my mother, father, I want to drink. I go to liquor shop, purchase 3 beers instead of one. I should take one only, but I purchase 3 beer. Home delivery mein he comes and gives me 1 beer. Understand? So that is within control. So if the assumption that home delivery of liquor will increase the level of consumption of the liquor among people, I don't agree to that. It may not be there. Instead, it is going to increase the business. It is going to increase the authenticity, something like that, maybe. And social distancing is maintained, because now it is the duty of the companies like Swiggy, Zomato, and they have roped in now, I think, Big Basket and Amazon also. So these companies are to maintain now social distancing issues. So don't go to the shop and don't mix with the people. Let the liquor will come to your home. You drink and मजा करो, ड्रिंक करो एंड सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग मेंटेन करो. तो आपको बड़े कॉशियसली इसको लेना है. अभी इशू क्यों आया? बिकॉज स्विगी एंड जोमेटो तो पहले ही झारखंड एंड उड़ीसा में इनको परमिशन मिल गया था. नाउ बिग बास्केट, अलीबाबा का एक अलीबाबा हैज चाइनीज कंपनी अलीबाबा हैज basically invested in big basket. Amazon and big basket are also now trying to get into West Bengal for the same thing. So as I told you, this is the main source of revenue for the government. So how liquor delivery at home will help, I mean, the government? It will boost the income of the government. Why? Because some people who do not want to go out, social distancing they want to maintain, and they normally take liquor. Normally they used to take, but during shutdown they are not in position to take. So they can now get the liquor and government ka income badhega. It can help people stay inside, stay safe, right? It does not lead to trouble in maintaining social order, because घर में ही तो पी रहे हो, तो social disorder कैसे फैलेगा? जब भी social disorder फैलता है तो ये हमेशा when you drink outside, that is how it goes. So you will drive safely because you are not driving at all. घर में पी रहे हो, it is not going to create any trouble. Consumption per head going to increase, इसका कोई proof नहीं है. मैं कंपैरिजन शटडाउन के साथ नहीं कर रहा हूं, पहले के साथ कर रहा हूं. व्हेन इट वाज नॉट शटडाउन, दैट टाइम आल्सो पीपल यूज्ड टू कंज्यूम. नाउ ड्यूरिंग शटडाउन पीपल आर कंज्यूमिंग द सेम. इट विल हैव सस्टेन द बिजनेस ऑफ ट्रेलर कंपनी. यस, अमेजॉन वगैरह जितनी भी कंपनीज हैं, जोमेटो, स्विगी, ये सस्टेन रह जाएंगी. इनमें बहुत से लोगों को एम्प्लॉयमेंट मिलता है, सो वो सस्टेन रह जाएंगे. नीड टू मेंटेन प्रॉपर विजिल. यस, इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज दिस इज अ न्यू सिस्टम कमिंग अप, सो यू नीड टू बी वेरी कॉशियस. You need to be very cautious. Police system is to maintain it properly, and some discretion is to be given to delivery companies, like wrong orders na jaye, galat anti social activities na ho. So these delivery companies are to be very cautious for that. They have to think about that. So if this topic comes for GD, delivery, the liquor at home, good or bad, so you have to maintain both this. It is bad if it is not delivered properly. I mean, the companies which are delivering, they have to maintain proper hygiene now, and the all the requirements during shutdown and covid में जो चाहिए उनको maintain करना है. नंबर 2, जो लिकर सेलिंग कंपनीज हैं और ये सप्लायर कंपनीज हैं, इनको प्रॉपर सिस्टमेटिकली इसको यूज करना है. एंड दूसरा, इसका कोई नेगेटिव एस्पेक्ट नहीं है, और ऑब्वियसली जब तक तुम करोगे नहीं पता चलेगा भी नहीं. तो जो पॉजिटिव पॉइंट्स थे वो मैंने आपको बताए हैं कि यस, इट कैन हेल्प दैट वे. इट कैन हेल्प प्रोवाइड एम्प्लॉयमेंट. इट कैन हेल्प basically creating a resource for the government without creating any kind of trouble. So it can be there, but as you then do, this is how it is to be done. Okay, let's go for now next topic which we can go for, and that is related to India and its neighbors. What are the border disputes? India encirclement policy for India, China's debt trap policy, China's string of pearl policies. So what are these issues we are going to discuss now? India is having some kind of border disputes with its own neighbors, and China is the most notorious among all the neighbors, which is not only trying to create trouble on line of actual control or border issues with India, but also taking Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Sri Lanka on board, and creating some troubles for India. So that is what we are going to discuss here. You see, what is the string of pearl policy of China? China wants to gherao India. So Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Hambantota, Colombo, Gwadar in China. So ये पर्ल की स्ट्रिंग बना लेनी है कि इंडिया को घेराव कर लो. अभी नेपाल के साथ भी इशू आ रहा है, नेपाल ने नया मैप निकाला है, तो वो सारा इंडिया को घेराव कर लो, बिकॉज चाइना हैज ओनली वन ट्रबल फ्रॉम इंडिया. इंडिया कैन बिकम वेरी बिग इकोनॉमी, इंडिया कैन सेल इट्स प्रोडक्ट्स टू वर्ल्ड ओवर. सो इंडिया के साथ लड़ाई करना है चाइना. दैट इज व्हाट इट इज डूइंग. साउथ चाइना सी ऑल्सो, हैनन आइलैंड में भी लड़ाई चल रही है. सो दिस इज हाउ चाइना इज गोइंग टू डू दैट फॉर इंडिया. Another policy China is following is debt trap policy. China is giving some kind of debt to the countries, I mean least developed countries, and using their basically land for creating some kind of bases, military bases there, like श्रीलंका में, मालदीव्स में, इन कंट्रीज में पाकिस्तान को, इन सबको उन्होंने डेप्ट दिया है. You see, this जो डेप्ट दिया है इन कंट्रीज को, लाइक पाकिस्तान, केन्या, ऑल these countries, the moment you have given debt to them, these countries are indebted to you, and you can create infrastructure in these countries. So China is using these two tools, like Ghirao India in terms of having some kind of association with these countries, and debt trap. So these two China के नाम आपने याद रखने, China string of pearl policy and debt trap policy. अब रिसेंटली क्या हुआ था कि इंडिया में, एज यू नो, आर्टिकल 370 वाज एब्रोगेटेड, एंड स्टेट ऑफ जम्मू एंड कश्मीर वाज made union territory of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. Ladakh union territory has two districts, Kargil and Leh. Now in this part, in Ladakh union territory, as you see, this part is Pakistan occupied Kashmir, and this is Aksai Chin, and this is the line of actual control where that all issues which we have just seen, 20 Indian troops died, that we have seen Goalan Valley, something here, that is where we have observed it. And also this is a basically hotspot of India-China fight. So new map when India released, India showed Aksai Chin and POK as part of Ladakh Union Territory. So this created some kind of issue, and this new map was released in November 2019, and 5th August 2019 में इंडिया आर्टिकल 370 was abrogated 5th August 2019, and then नवंबर में नया मैप निकाला. उसके बाद से this issue has started coming up, and now after that China is claiming entire Galwan Valley, कि सारी Galwan Valley हमारी है, Siachen Glacier. This map knowledge you should have, and China is flexing its muscles near line of actual control. So Galwan Valley, China says, belongs to me, and this is my area only. So from there the issues are coming up. Now soldiers died, and different countries in the world, they have given their reactions to this. And Chinese foreign minister said that Galwan Valley is located on Chinese side of line of actual control, and also not only Galwan Valley but other areas also China is claiming, so that area is our. Now Chinese president, who is a president for lifetime now, and Chinese political party, single political party only is allowed in China, Chinese Communist Party. नेपाल के अंदर the ruling party is Nepal Communist Party. So Chinese Communist Party, Nepal Communist Party, that also some kind of alliance, because president of China visited Nepal, and after that these two countries are working very closely. And India has lost ground there also, because they have, Nepal has come out with a new map showing some of the territories of India as part of Nepal, जिनमें ये काला पानी, लिपू लेक, लिम्पिया, धुरा, ये उत्तराखंड की कुछ territories have been shown as the part of Nepal. So India और इसके नेबरिंग के साथ जो इश्यूज हैं, नेपाल के साथ ये इशू है. Largely this is on the basis of basically Chinese diplomacy against India, and to basically make the other members happy and giving them loans or debt, making them indebted. Now Nepal is going to China side, and because of this latest constitutional amendment in Nepal, by which Nepal showed some kind of territories of India as part of Nepal. So Communist Party of China, Nepal Communist Party, and this Nepal is going to the fold of China. So China is basically, as I told you, giving allurement of one reason or other. Pakistan historically is against India, you know, so China is not to put much effort to make Pakistan towards its side, but Nepal was towards India, and Sri Lanka and Myanmar and Bangladesh. Even Bangladesh may present government that was pro India, but now because Chinese president has given some kind of loans and some kind of other trade benefits to Bangladeshi product, so Bangladesh also is listening to China. So China is pursuing very aggressive policy as far as neighboring countries of India is concerned, and gherao India diplomatically. That is what China is doing. China to woo the Bangladesh, to make Bangladesh happy and bring Bangladesh on board its side. China declared that Bangladesh से जितनी भी items आती हैं, product आते हैं, उनमें 97% product will be exempted from tariff. कोई import duty नहीं देनी पड़ेगी. तो बांग्लादेशी प्राइम मिनिस्टर शेख हसीना and Chinese president Xi Jinping had discussion related to that. So that is also, as I told you, China is trying to gherao India. That is the policy of China. And if you can see the kind of investment China has done in these countries, you see Bangladesh and Pakistan में कितना ज़्यादा investment किया है. Bangladesh is very important for China because strategically Bangladesh is located. The communication between India and Northeast state is less. It is through Bangladesh only. So that is also one of the reasons why this is there. And other countries also, China is giving this kind of basically a lot of benefit in the form of some kind of investment China is doing in the region and all. अब इसमें अगर एग्जाम में क्वेश्चन आएगा, जीडी का क्वेश्चन आएगा, तो इंडिया एंड इट्स नेबर बॉर्डर डिस्प्यूट्स, तो आपको ये नॉलेज होना चाहिए. दैट इज व्हाट यू कैन डू. यू कैन से दैट चाइना इज प्लेइंग aggressive, basically China is very aggressive as far as bringing the Indian neighbors towards its side is concerned. China is giving them debt. China is basically ghirao India, pearl of string बना रहा है China. China ने disputes और ये जो एग्जांपल नेपाल के मैंने आपको बताया, ट्रेड के आपको एग्जांपल बताए, ये आपने एग्जांपल लेने हैं. और ये कहां से स्टार्ट हुआ? इंडिया के जो आर्टिकल 370 एब्रोगेट हुआ, उसका फॉल आप बता सकते हैं कि इसका आउटफॉल ये है, उसका रिपरकशन ये है कि these countries are behaving in this particular way also. What India should do? Indian Prime Minister and India should also very aggressively try to bring these countries on board. So whatever China is doing, undo that. India is to undo that and exploit, basically expose China to these countries. So India is also to play very aggressive role in this particular thing. So last discussion which I want to do with you is privatization of natural resources. You know, recently Prime Minister of India has released a 20 lakh crore package, आत्मनिर्भर भारत, कि इंडिया में हम कोविड के चलते इकोनॉमी इज इन रिसेशन, तो टू बूस्ट इकोनॉमी लेट्स इन्वेस्ट एंड स्पेंड मनी. From where that money will come? So गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया हैज प्लान टू मेक सम काइंड ऑफ प्राइवेटाइजेशन. रेलवे को प्राइवेटाइजेशन कर देना है, पीएसयूज को प्राइवेटाइजेशन करना है, नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज को बेचा जा सकता है. जैसे कोयला था तो कोल वाज अर्लियर कोल इंडिया लिमिटेड इज अ पब्लिक सेक्टर जिसके पास राइट है. तो क्या ये नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज को प्राइवेटाइज करके बेच देना, उसका पैसा लेना इज गुड और बैड? आंसर इज इट डिपेंड्स. Like suppose you sell your house, that is good or bad? I'll say good also and I'll say bad also. When you sell your house, when you sell your car, it can be good, it can be bad. Depends how you are utilizing that money. Suppose you sell your house but you purchase a bigger house, or you renovate that house, or you make that house better. Intention is positive, then it is good. So if you are opening up coal exploration, if you are basically auctioning the coal bed to some private player and earn some money like 33,000 crore, and that 33,000 crore you use to make some kind of infrastructure, rural infrastructure, then it is not bad. So प्राइवेटाइजेशन अपने आप में बैड नहीं है, लेकिन डिपेंड करता है कि क्या प्राइवेटाइजेशन से बेनिफिट हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है, क्या ओवरऑल इकोनॉमी ग्रो कर रही है, क्या लोगों का क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ बढ़ रहा है कि नहीं बढ़ रहा है. सो द मनी विच गवर्नमेंट इज गोइंग टू गैदर or gain by privatization and all, that money should be properly utilized for the benefit of people. That is something which is very very important. So apne aap mein privatization is not bad, but depends what you are going to do. So recently 41 coal blocks for commercial mining, they were auctioned, and 33,000 crore of capital investment is expected. Now if that capital investment is going to create some kind of infrastructure, like rural infrastructure, it is going to create some kind of demand and supply, or market mein economy boom ho rahi hai, then it is per se it is not bad. So you can give the examples, you can give these kind of examples of Atmanirbhar program of government, Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India, these kind of things, examples you can give, so that you understand that this is not bad. So auctioning of the natural resources, privatization of the natural resources is not bad if they are properly utilized, and the money which you gather from this can be properly utilized for developing the economy. But if it is not utilized properly, then it is bad, then it is a wastage of your natural resource and the resource of the country. So I hope these a couple of topics which I've discussed with you for GD, and these PPT, PDF you take on the basis of this which we have made, and revise this. I will come out with more topics. So in month of June, let's say I'll come out with the 10-15 topics of GD which are current in news, and I think that will be more than sufficient for us to prepare. Fine. Thank you.